And is this absolutely stunning linear. It's absolutely gorgeous, this one. Well, hello and welcome to another video. Once again, sorry it's been so long, guys. It's been sort of 4 weeks since my last video, which was the one all about Ronnie rigs. Lots of you enjoyed that, so thanks anyone who watched that, and all the comments and everything, that's really appreciated. This video, we're going down my local club lake for 24 hours, and we're going to be talking all about avoiding tangles. One of the most important things really with your carp fishing. You know, there's no point putting a rig out into the lake if it's going to be tangled around the lead or tangled up on itself. There's no way that the carp's going to be able to pick that up and get hooked. So yeah, we're going to be giving you all the different ways that I like to avoid tangles. And also I've got some exciting news, which is that I'm going to be working with a new bait company as their digital creator, which means I'm going to be making videos, taking pictures, etc. for them. So I'll be talking a bit more about that later on. And also the last bit of exciting news, we've actually got a road trip planned for the end of August. I've done 2 previous road trips the last 2 years. If you look on my channel, I've got some exciting venues lined up for that, so I'll tell you a bit more about that later on as well. If you want to see that, then make sure you subscribe to the channel, because that'll be coming up in the next few weeks as well. So I'm going to get down the lake now and we'll get set up and everything, and then I'll catch up to you when we're all sorted. Right, here we are. As you can see, we're down at the lake now. It's my local club lake, around about 3 acres. I've been here on some previous videos that you will have seen on my channel. But yeah, we're doing 24 hours or thereabouts. And stupid me, left my barrow at home, so I actually ended up doing what you should never do, and that's go in the swim nearest the car park. But I have fished this swim before, and I did get the biggest mirror out of here a couple of years ago from this swim, so you know, it's got form, let's put it that way. And actually, because it's a fairly small lake, I can access a lot of the spots from anywhere on the lake really, so you just have to pick where you want to go, and then you can kind of cast to a lot of the good areas. So I've got 2 rods out so far, both on my normal withy pool rigs with white pop-ups and a little scatter of bait around. And I'm just sort of contemplating what to do with my 3rd rod, because there's a couple of good stalking spots kind of to the left and right of me. So I might have a go at the stalking during the day today, whilst the sun's out and everything, and whilst I can see what I'm doing, and whilst the fish are coming in the margin. But yeah, we'll see. I might end up putting it out for the night sooner rather than later. I'll see if I can see any fish in these margins. But one of the main reasons I want to talk to you right now is that I've got exciting news about my new bait deal. So I've been asked by Pure Bait Concepts to work with them as a digital creator. So basically that means making videos for them and taking photos for their social media pages, etc., and actually sort of working for them. So I've actually left Richworth now, where I was a sponsored angler, and I'm actually working for Pure Bait Concepts. So that's actually a really good move for me, because I love my video making and photography, as you know if you watch my channel, and to actually work for a bait company is a bit of a dream, really. I mean, I've already got the job with Jag as well, where I film products for them as well, so it's going very well for me at the moment. And Pure Bait Concepts, they're a relatively new company, they've been around a couple of years, but we've got two really good baits in the range. Amino Marine, which is their fish meal, robin red type bait, and then they've got the Amino Ester, which is nuts and milk proteins and bird food and that sort of thing. And they've got some really nice products to complement their ranges, some really lovely pop-ups in different colours, and wafters and cork ball pop-ups and all that sort of stuff. So lots of choices and two sort of core ranges to choose from, and I've actually caught on both of them now. I've been sort of 3 times since I've been using their bait, and I've caught every time, so it's a really good start on their bait. I've got a lot of confidence in it now, and I've been enjoying kind of making the videos for them and getting to know the baits a little bit, and the guys behind the company. Some nice blokes working there, and so far so good. So enough about that. If you want to check out Pure Bait Concepts, I'll leave their website below the video if you haven't heard of them before, but I'm sure most of you have, because they're making a name for themselves very quickly, this company, because the bait is that good, But yeah, so this session I'm really wanted to talk to you about stopping tangles and the different ways that I use to avoid a rig tangling when I cast out. So I'll probably do that tomorrow morning when I've got everything's settled and I've sort of done the night and that, and I'll be able to talk to you guys. But for the rest of today, I think I'm just going to be having a look up and down my margin, trying to find some fish, and hopefully a stalking opportunity will come about, and if not, I'll be getting that third rod out for the night. So I'll update you guys a bit later on this evening, and I'll keep you updated if anything happens along the way. To you guys a little bit about some trips that I've got coming up in the next few weeks. It's been a little bit quiet so far this year on my channel. Obviously with the coronavirus lockdown and everything, I couldn't get out fishing. I did film a couple of videos from home, if you look back, did a couple of instructional type videos, but I'm excited to say, some trips coming up now that are booked in. So firstly, at the beginning of August, we've got the YouTube bloggers social match, which is really exciting because we get to meet all the other well-known YouTubers. People like the Carp King's going to be there, Joe from Nothing But Fishing, who also works at Carpology, he's going to be there. Sadly, Jay and Chris from Back of the Landing Net aren't going to be there. They were booked to come, and then work and things got in the way. There's quite a few other YouTubers as well, so it'd be fun to meet them guys, and we're going to have a real social, going to Todber Manor, which supposedly is quite a prolific fishery as well, so we should catch a few fish, so keep an eye on the channel for that video coming up. And also later in August I'm doing my annual road trip. I think I mentioned it in the intro. So me and my mate Matt, who I meet up with every year, we're going to be doing 6 nights So we've got 48 hours on some lakes somewhere after carp, obviously, 48 hours on a river trying for barbel. Hopefully I'll have a bit more luck than last year. If you saw that video, I didn't do very well on the River Trent. And then another 48 hours on another lake. We've got a few places in mind. We're looking at Stannick Lakes, we're looking at A1 Pits, we're looking at Bradley's, which is in the Cotswold Water Park, an absolutely huge water. Be amazing to get on there. It's over 100 acres. Bit of a tall order to catch a fish in 48 hours from a water like that, but it'll just be stunning scenery and a lovely place to lose ourselves for a couple of days. So we might end up on there as well. But we've also got other options like Blue Whale and quite a few others as well. So keep an eye on my channel, make sure you subscribe guys, because there is going to be some pretty exciting content coming up soon. And now that I'm sort of working with Pure Bait Concepts, I'm going to be putting out more regular content, which is kind of part of my deal, if you like. So a couple of videos every month at least, if not more, are going to be coming your way. So if you like the sound of that, subscribe to the channel. It doesn't cost you anything. All you have to do is click the red button below the video. It just means that you're notified whenever I do upload a video. So what's been going on today then? Well, I've been sort of walking up and down the margins trying to find any fish that might be hanging out close in. They do often do that on this lake, but I've not really seen anything, and I did do a lap of the lake when I got here and I didn't see anything then either. One fish was hiding in the middle of some reeds, but you know, I couldn't really fish safely for that one, and one fish isn't really enough to get me excited to go in a spot near there either. So I've kind of well, like I said, I forgot my barrow, so I've ended up in this swim which is very close to the car park, because I had to do about 4 trips with all my gear. I didn't fancy the far side of the lake doing that without a barrow, so I've come here, but I can access a lot of the spots from here. It's only a fairly small lake, like I think I said. So yeah, I didn't have any luck on the stalking, didn't really see anything. So I'm going to get my third rod out on the far margin, I think, for tonight. And then that'll be it, all rods will be out, and I'll be leaving them for the rest of the session until we pack up tomorrow. Although what I have done is baited a couple of spots to my left and right along this margin, so that in the morning I might get a stalking opportunity. There's a little tip for you there. If you're you know, expecting to be having a hard session, it's worth having a few spots on the go just that you can keep an eye on, because if a fish does turn up, or a few fish do turn up and start feeding there, you can always drop a rig onto them and have a good chance of catching, and it can pick up bonus fish. And I've done that on this lake a few times, where I've baited some spots in the margin and then the next morning there's been fish there and I've managed to catch one. So stay tuned to see if we manage one overnight, guys, and if not, there's always a stalking opportunity in the morning, and I'll try and show you as much of that as I can. Also, don't forget that we're going to be talking about how you can stop tangles in your carp fishing. One of the most important things really about getting your presentation right is stopping tangles. There's nothing more frustrating when you've cast your rod out and you've left it for 24 hours or more, and when you wind in, it's not even been fishing, you know, it's been all tangled up and there's no way a carp could have got it in its mouth. So stopping tangles is very, very important. So we're going to be talking about that tomorrow, so make sure you stay tuned for that bit. But plenty of time left, you know, it's only early afternoon. We've got all the rest of the day and tonight, so I'll probably update you just before it gets dark. And obviously any fish that come along, we'll show you those as well. guys, here we are. Not been fishing all that long really, 3 or 4 hours, and we've managed this absolutely stunning linear. It's absolutely gorgeous, this one. Wait till you see it. I'm well happy with this one. There we go. Really nice looking fish, I'm sure you'll agree. 17.5, so not the biggest fish in a pond, but a bit of a cliche. When they look like this, you don't care about the size, do you? There you go, guys. We're off the mark. We've still got the night and tomorrow morning to go, so well happy with that. That's on the amino ester, the heavily prepped ones, and a little wafter over the top. I'll talk you through the rig and everything in a bit, and where I caught it from. I'm just going to get some quick pictures of this one and then get it back. Well, hope you enjoyed that little bit of excitement there. What a lovely fish that was. I love the scale pattern on it and everything. It was absolutely gorgeous. So the story behind that capture, just down to my right here, I chucked a couple of handfuls of boilies in when I got here, hoping that I could have a bit of a stalking opportunity. I didn't really see any fish, but I thought whilst I was just kind of contemplating what to do with the rest of the day, I'd just put a rod on it just to give me an extra chance for fish really. I've already got my 2 rods out on the pop-ups, but I put this one out on a wafter, basically a bit of amnesia, knotless knotted, and then the tag end put back through like a D-rig, you know, like a chod rig sort of section, with a little bait screw on that D section, and then a wafter just screwed straight onto the bait screw. It's about 6 inches long, blob of putty in the middle, and a loop at the other end, and that was it. That was my rig. I'll maybe do a video on how to tie that, but it's pretty standard sort of stiff rig, D-rig type of thing for you know, a subtle wafter presentation, particularly in clearer water. I like using that amnesia rather than any braid that's going to stand out. But yeah, I've just put that rod back where it was, just to see for the last 2 or 3 hours before it gets dark, just to see if any other fish are cruising around that margin. There's a little bit of activity in the area, but mostly small fish just pecking away at the baits that I put out there probably. But then for tonight, I'm going to put it on the far margin where I know the fish like to patrol along at night. I've had takes there before, so I'll probably have all 3 rods out on the far margin for tonight, and then in the morning I might have another go on this close in spot where I've just caught that fish. So, you know, I'm giving myself options and hopefully maximising my chances really. So there's another real little tip for you, you know, if you have a few spots on the go, you can rotate your rods around a little bit and give yourself extra chances of fish during your session, because there's no point just sitting on your hands for 24 hours. You might as well make something happen. So that's what I'm doing. That fish was on the amino ester. I think that's the 4th fish in 3 sessions or 4 sessions I've had now on that bait, which I'm starting to like. You know, it's my type of bait. You know, it's got the sort of milk proteins and bird foods in it, but also it's got the option to treat the baits. There's a recent video that I made on the Pure Bait Concepts Instagram page. If you check that out, there's a liquid loading and active coating video for the baits, and basically you soak in liquids into the baits and then you use a special active powder that sticks to the outside, and that forms like a skin, and then when the baits are in the water they react and start kind of an active process. And that rod was only out for about 3 hours and I've had a fish, so it's obviously working with the prepped baits, and the ones that I'm actually using are the ones that I made up in the video for pure baits, so that's quite cool. I'm kind of proving that they work really, and just a little wafter over the top. So happy days. We're going to give that a couple more hours on that near spot, and then I'll probably get the rod out on the far margin for the night. So I'll update you guys just before it's too dark to film anymore, and I'm just going to be chilling out, might make a cup of coffee or something, and keep watching the water, and if I see anything I'll be sure to act on it. So yeah, let me just stay tuned for the stopping tangles bit tomorrow morning, and we'll keep our fingers crossed there's going to be a few more fish along the way, because we've had a really good start. So yeah, only time will tell. Come on, fish. There we go. Really nice old looking mirror. 16 pound 10, so not the biggest fish in the lake, but really old looking, really scaly. It's probably spawned recently. It might have been a 20 pounder before it spawned, but nevertheless it's a lovely fish. But yeah, for now I'll get this fish back and get that rod back out, and hopefully there'll be more to come during the night. Right, good morning guys. As you can probably see by the sun on my face, it's a beautiful morning. Pretty tricky conditions though really. The wind absolutely dropped off, turned off in last night, and it actually got quite cold, you know, you could see breath this morning when I woke up early. But now the sun's come through, it's feeling pretty warm, and I might be better off floater fishing or zig fishing or something today. Not the best conditions for a bite on the bottom, but there's still plenty of time on this session. I'm probably going to go home sort of late morning, and I've brought my my margin rod back in where I had the fish yesterday, so potentially as the sun warms the margins a bit, the carp might come in and have a little feed, but who knows, fingers crossed, eh? So yeah, just going to have some breakfast now, and then we're going to be talking you through 5 tips for avoiding tangles with your rigs, so that you can make sure you've got good presentation and have your best possible chance of catching a carp. Right then, tangles. We've all been there, haven't we? You've cast out your rod with anticipation, hoping you're going to catch a new PB or a lovely scaly fish, and you've left it out there maybe 24 hours or so, and when you wind in, it's all tangled, and you know that you've not really been fishing, and you probably have more chance of catching a carp at home. So how can we avoid this dreaded situation when you cast out your rigs into the lake? Because you can't really see what's going on the bottom, so you need to know that what you do when you prepare that rig is going to stop it from tangling and give you the best possible chance of catching a carp. So I'm going to give you 5 tips to stop tangles. Tip number 1 is to use a stiff or semi-stiff material for your rig. So you can use monofilament or fluorocarbon type materials which have a bit of stiffness in them, or coated braids. Both these types of materials have that little bit of extra rigidity which helps to push the hook and the hook bait away from the lead, both in flight and as the rig falls through the water and lands on the lake bed. And a bonus tip is to steam these types of materials before you cast out, because as they come off the spool they're usually a bit coiled and can be slightly kinked. If you steam them, they go nice and straight, but also steaming them gives them that extra little bit of stiffness, which just helps aid anti-tangle properties. So tip number 1 is to use stiff or semi-stiff materials for hook link. Tip number 2, and this leads on nicely from tip number 1, and that's to use a buoyant or a sort of semi-buoyant hook bait. So what I mean is a bait that it has an element of buoyancy to it. So when you cast out, the lead will hit the bottom first, and then your hook bait, whether it be a wafter or a pop-up or a snowman sort of presentation, or a balance bait that you've done with cork or foam, it will fall more slowly than your lead, so that the hook link material and the slight stiffness that hopefully you're using will kick away from the lead. Because of the buoyancy, it falls slowly, and that gives the hook link chance to push the bait away and not land in a heap on top of the lead, which can lead to tangles. Tip number 3 is to use PVA of some kind. So that might be a little mesh bag or a stick, and that might be a solid bag, or even a dissolving nugget, which isn't strictly PVA, but in the similar sort of family of products really. And these all help avoid tangles. It can give extra weight to the hook end of the rig, which keeps it away from the lead in flight, and also as it falls through the water it helps separate the rig and the lead so they won't wrap around each other. So any type of PVA really can help you stop tangles. A solid bag's a good one because the rig is inside the bag, so it doesn't move at all in flight. The way you set it in the bag is kind of how it ends up until the bag melts on the bottom, so there's no way that that can tangle in flight. The next tip is all to do with your casting. What you want to be doing is casting out nice and smoothly, no jerky movements, and then watch your rig in the air, because you'll be able to see whether it's wrapped around the lead, watching it if at all possible all the way until just before it hits the surface, and then you want to be using your finger lightly on the spool, which is called feathering, which will slow down the lead and allow the rig to straighten out, so that when it just before it hits the water it's in a straight line. And then you either want to use the line clip on the reel or a finger to completely stop the line before the rig hits the water, and this will ensure that the rig lands softly on the surface in a nice straight line, not in a heap, and it creates less disturbance, which is an extra bonus really. But more importantly, it will stop tangles, because you're not going to plough it into the water in one go where the bait can hit the water first and then the lead go in behind it and bunch up and tangle. You're going to lay it out all in a nice straight line, and hopefully that will give you the best possible chance of stopping tangles. The next tip is leaded on from the casting technique, and that is to feel your lead down. So after your lead's hit the water, keep the line tight, lift the rod tip up slightly, keep the line tight and follow that lead down on a tight line until it hits the bottom, and that will make sure that the line stays tight and the lead ever so slightly falls back towards you, which again straightens the rig out through the water and allows, you know, as much distance really between your hook and your lead as possible. That's what we're trying to achieve, because the nearer the hook is to the lead, the more chance it's got of tangling round and hooking up behind the lead on the leader or something. So feeling the lead down on a tight line gives you an idea of what's on the bottom, which is very useful, but also helps the lead swing back towards you slightly, which sort of drags the lead through the water, and the rig will straighten out behind the lead and hopefully land in a nice straight line on the bottom. So that was tip number 5, to feel the lead down. Now a bonus tip, and something that I do all the time, and this is to do with the rig attachment to the lead system.
Now I always use a quick link so that I can quick change my rigs. What I like to do is have a long loop in the line, so say 3 inches of doubled over material, and you tie a figure of 8 loop in that material, and it gives you an extra boom section which helps kick away from the lead in flight. And if you steam it, it gives that extra stiffness as well, which as the rig falls down through the water will push away from the lead. And you can use an anti-tangle sleeve on this as well for extra anti-tangle properties. I use a little silicone sleeve which seems to do the job just nicely, but that extra long loop just gives you a boom and helps avoid tangles, which is what this video has been all about. So I hope that's been helpful for you guys. I hope you've gained something from it. Perhaps leave a comment below anything that you do to avoid tangles in your fishing, and remember to leave a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Got lots of content coming this year, as I said earlier in the video, and I hope you enjoyed seeing that lovely scaly one that we caught yesterday. Now if there's any more fish on this session, obviously you'll see those, so keep watching to the end. But if not, guys, I think we'll sign it off for there, and I'll see you in the next video.